The next game I've played is actually going to bleed into our first topic.
Yeah, Roger. What else have you played? I'm really interested because all this COD talk has just kind of melted my brain a little bit.
Heck yeah, it's got your COD hard. So, so I got the opportunity to play the Mirror's Edge Catalyst beta. Now, it was a closed beta, and getting in was, man, if you're a Twitter user, you probably could have got in, like, easily. But for everyone else that was like, oh yeah, I signed up, I waited in line, I signed up day of. Nobody was getting their codes, but people on Twitter were getting their codes.
I have a confession to make.
Do this thing.
I got my code day one. I didn't see it in my email, and I wasn't even near my computer during that time, so I wouldn't have been able to play even if I did redeem it. So I feel like shit because I know that it was really hard for a lot of normal people, everyday Joes and shit. It was hard for everyone to get one except me.
Yeah, dude.
I had 1 day to play, and I was just like, you know what? I'm not even gonna fucking try. And sure enough, I couldn't try because I was just so damn busy that day. And it's just a shame because if I had seen it earlier, I probably would have tried harder to download it or something.
Yeah. Well, I guess and again, I haven't seen a whole lot of other opinions on the Mirror's Edge Catalyst beta. I've seen maybe one or two people talk about it, and generally speaking, I agree with them, but I definitely deviate a little bit from like what everyone else thinks. Everyone's very black and white with the game. Either the mob mentality kicks in and they're like, oh, the game's shit, and they don't even, they don't even like see gameplay of it. They just hear, hey, this guy thinks it's shit. Oh, it's shit. Markiplier thinks it's shit. Oh, it's shit. You know what I mean? That kind of mentality.
Yeah.
But having gone in day one, having played the whole thing as much as I could, there are some aspects of like, the free roaming missions that, just repeat forever. But I definitely played 100% of the meat and potatoes of the game. From the beginning, you're going to be kind of underwhelmed with the graphics, which is weird because...
Excuse me?
Yeah. There's something about the game in motion. Now, I know they said they had a lot of issues like cutscenes. Oh my god, cutscenes in the again, this was the beta. I played the beta. This is not final release code, so it's an indicator, but it's definitely not an indicator of final quality type stuff. And it was closed. If it was open, I think it would be under much more scrutiny, but it was closed. But the cutscenes were very stuttery. I mean, to the points where it felt like I was watching almost a slideshow, which is concerning. But again, I'm going to chalk it up to being an open beta. When you first jump into the game, the first thing I was jarred by was the extreme FPS dips. And this game is about a month away. So unless they can totally make this game go from like, it's kind of running really bad to running really, really good, then good on them. But from what I played, it was shocking. The only way to really get it back up to pace was by going into the NVIDIA control menu, or the, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. It's called NVIDIA Control Panel. With a tweak there, you were able to get it, running better. Not 100%, but better. I was getting closer to 60. I was able to max the game out on a GTX 970 with an i5 4690K. I think that's what it is. But yeah, performance was definitely really bad. I hope that's not an indicator of the final game. I actually pre-ordered the game. After a lot of kind of like mental like conflict, I finally went, okay, I'll just go ahead and put my pre-order in. But my problem with the game really stems from the fact that it's also EA. And EA really knows how to fuck a game up. So, although I have complete and total faith in DICE, actually I saw a live stream of one of like 2 or 3 DICE developers that were just playing the beta and answering questions, and I got a lot of my questions answered about the game. Some of the stuff I'll touch on here, but I can tell that they gave a shit. They definitely looked at the original source material, and in terms of thematic, the way things are arranged, the game is really faithful to the first game, like really, really faithful. But it also throws in, hey, get it, faithful, faith.
Dude, my bad. Like, you were breaking up so fucking hard. That was weird.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. I can go back. Okay, mentally. Okay. Basically, what I was saying is that the game has a lot of technical issues, and that's bullshit. I was able to talk to the devs on what's it called? On Twitch. Yeah, and they answered a lot of my questions, which was really fucking cool. And I will touch on some of the things they said in this little like rant piece that I have. But you could tell they gave a shit. You could tell they really cared about this game, and they really wanted to be faithful to the original while also expanding on it and making it new. So for that, I really appreciated it. But like I said, it's EA, and I'm going to wait till day one, and then I'll buy it day one. Well, I may even buy it day 2, day 3, depending on when the reviews come out. But I do want to see people who've played it for the long run. I am a fan of it, but if it's going to come out and it's going to be like, this game is the next Arkham Knight, it runs like shit, and you know what I mean? Where it's like, I don't want to be involved in that and just think I spent money. But getting into the main, because the plot is just really, it was never about the plot. It's interesting.
It looked interesting this time.
It's interesting enough, but it's one of those things where you can see where they're trying hard. You can see that they don't have a direction. Oh my god. You can see that they didn't have a really clear direction, and you can see the actors like doing their fucking best to kind of get that, like, here's the emotion, trying to get that out. But a lot of it comes off as like really weird, try-hardy delivery. Which is a shame, because the voice actors, everybody's pretty good. I think the main character, Faith, she's kind of, I mean,
she's supposed to be like the, oh shit, what do you call it? Like the blank page, She's supposed to just emulate what you're feeling, except she has a voice.
No, but that's the problem. She's too moody.
Exactly.
She's a moody. She's a moody teenage girl. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, I got a chance to ask one of the developers about that. I was like, I noticed that you changed voice actresses, which is fine because, they sound relatively similar, but you can still really hear this kind of, I guess, layered on angst that's kind of obnoxious to hear. Like, she'll kind of like, yo, whatever. Like her lines, and it's like,
oh, yeah, okay.
Have you seen the show Parks and Recreation?
Nope.
Okay, all right. Well, for anyone who's seen Parks and Recreation, I forget her name because it's been a while. The girl who's really dark and she hangs out with Andy all the time. She's very like depressing. She's so hot. Yeah, well, she talks exactly like her, where it's like, yeah, whatever, I don't care. And it's just kind of like,
I didn't even realize that, man.
Yeah.
No wonder I like Faith.
But yeah, she layers it on kind of thick, and in certain scenes, it's like, why are you so fucking brooding and angry? Look at the world around you. It's really fucking beautiful.
She was in prison for years.
That's fine. She'll be fine. But it did, like the dev had assured me, like I was like, I don't know how I feel about that, and the dev was like, no. By the end of the game, she's a very different person, and she's actually younger. Like, it is a reboot, but compared to Faith's age, which I would assume is around like maybe 27, 28 years old, is very different from the Faith in this game, which I'm assuming is 23 or 24. Very, subtle age difference, but during the 20s, that's kind of a big deal.
Yep.
But yeah, like, Faith feels fine. Everyone else is fine. The story was never the point. Now, the game, the actual meat and potatoes, the way that things feel. As a Mirror's Edge fan, I've never been happier. It's...
oh, thank God.
So faithful. It is so fucking faithful to the original game, and it just expands on what the original game wanted to do. There's some stupid quirks, like when you land from a height and you want to roll out of, like, the impact. That's an upgrade that you have to put into your character because there's like this weird RPG system. And you have to spend one of your points that you earn on a mission in order to unlock rolling. Yeah, and then rolling and then coiling, like where you like throw your legs up and you're able to get over you know what I'm talking about from the
Yeah,
original game.
yeah, from over razor wire.
Yeah, exactly. Both of those were taken out. They were like stripped out. And it's like, okay, get some upgrades, and it wasn't like paid upgrades. It's just like really kind of pointless difficulty ceiling type thing that they're doing, where it's like their reasoning, or at least what the dev told me, was the reason that they did that was because it was a natural difficulty ceiling for players, so they're not overwhelmed by features. Because Mirror's Edge 1 just kind of went, here's how you do everything. All right, good luck.
The wall run, turn backwards, jump, and then over.
Yeah.
Yep.
I remember that, and that was the tutorial.
Yeah, on console that was extremely fucking hard because
Yeah.
all the buttons were all over the dang thing.
Exactly.
But on, I came back to Mirror's Edge. You saw me playing. Uh, uh, it was really easy. It was like run spacebar, or I'm sorry, W spacebar, Q spacebar. That's it. I was like, wow, that is
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah. And it, once you do get those unlocks, and like I said, it's really silly to have that behind a wall, but I guess if it fits in with how they are going to roll out the gameplay, it depends, but I would honestly rather just have the features. The actual, movement system, they did add a couple of things, like there's a shift button, and I was playing it on an Xbox One controller. It's basically hitting the B button, and you go from it's kind of like going from 0 to 60 in like 0.1 seconds.
Oh yeah, I noticed that. This guy that I was watching. Oh, okay. I haven't played it, but I watched this guy on YouTube for about 40 minutes, and I feel like that I have a feeling for the game, but obviously I don't because I haven't sat down to actually play it myself.
Right.
But yeah, that little mini sprint looks super useful, especially for speedrunners right after they would dismount from a jump.
Oh yeah.
Go on, man. That just looks like a godsend from what from what I was playing right now. It just seems like the natural evolution of it.
Yeah. Oh, and it's such a subtle addition. I mean, it doesn't do anything to inherently change the way the game works. All it does is whenever you hit a landing, or you hit the floor too hard and you do a stumble or you do something like that, or maybe you did a jump wrong and you lost a lot of momentum because you jumped in the air and turned, you know what I mean, and you lost a lot of your speed, your forward momentum. That little shift button, all it does is it just brings you back up to top speed. And like you said, it is very useful for speedrunners because when you're doing the traditional in Mirror's Edge, the way that most people do speed runs, like at least anybody who's really, really good, they'll get top speed and they'll jump coil, and it looks really.
I call it the bunny hop.
It's bunny hopping. That's exactly what it is. And if you can imagine it, it's in first person. You're running, you jump, and then you bring your legs up. You can see your feet under, like at the bottom of the screen, and it's basically the reason it works is because it keeps you at top speed. And you stay in the air at that top speed. Your feet hit the ground at a lesser time. What shift brings into that formula is that sometimes you'll hit it wrong. You'll hit the bunny hop wrong, and you lose a little bit of speed. You can just shift right out of it. Or like you said, if you're like climbing something and you're like, I need to go back to top. Like I think there's like a 0.5 second like buffer time, but after that, just boom, you're ready to go again. And that was a beautiful addition. It's just kind of a real subtle, thing that they threw in that really does kind of change the way the game works.
Especially since in like real life, if you running away from somebody from the cops, and if you land wrong, you're obviously gonna try and take off. You're gonna try and sprint away. You're not just gonna lazily kind of jog forward until you gain momentum enough to that. I'm referring to Mirror's Edge 1. Where that's what you would do when you're being chased by Kasek.
Yeah. I was trying to remember the name too. I think it is Kasek. But yeah, I mean, you'd go from a very light, leisurely jog to like full sprinting speed, and it's like, why are you transitioning that way? Just run.
Yeah, that shift button you're talking about just seems so natural. It just sounds such quality of life that needed to be there.
Yeah, definitely. Another thing is the game has a stronger focus on combat, the hand-to-hand fighting. There is no guns in this game.
Usable guns by you.
Thank God. There is guns
Yeah.
against you, but there is no using of guns in this game, and I'm glad that they realized that, fans didn't want that. And the ones that did, I don't know why you do, but
They
no.
wanted to make it easy. They just wanted it to be easy.
Yeah, and I mean, okay, they removed guns. It is combat focused. With combat, I was kind of happy with it because you really can run for most encounters, but there are things that you can do that I don't think, theoretically are useful. Like if you're going for a pacifist run, it's a useless feature. But the reliance on combat is really kind of fucking awesome because you're given two ways to attack that are like integrated into the parkour. So you'll be running full speed and you'll be like wall running. So you're running on the wall. And at the end of the wall, you can see that there's a dude standing at the end of it. If you hit Y, or the heavy attack, you may kick him in the head and stomp down on him. You may jump on his torso, put him to the ground, and that's it. You know what I mean? Like these really solid, adamant, like bam, you're down type moves. And then if you did the same thing, you were wall running and you pushed X, you would do a quicker move that essentially would be like, oop, kick to the face, but you're still at full speed. You never lost speed. And it's very gratifying to be able to do that. The problem is that the actual environment, like I feel like it almost needed to be hardwire programmed where the enemies were going to be. Because when the enemies start moving around and the AI starts getting weird, it starts to become impossible to do anything other than ignore them or to go up to them and like try to improvise these really awkward looking parkour moves to get more damage. So
yeah, those it looked really. That's why I can't put my finger on it. It looks fun, but and it looks kind of it looks very flashy, but it doesn't look gratifying to me. Like the parkouring into the stomps and stuff, that looked awesome. But like if you're both standing there and if you're about to go into a fist fight or something, that just didn't look. It didn't look gratifying, but it did look flashy as hell.
Yeah.
And I bet that like for if your little brother's behind you watching, he'd be like, "Oh, that's so cool!" But in reality, you press like 3 buttons and that's it.
Yep, exactly. And you totally hit the nail on the head there. It's the fact that you're going in for a one-on-one fight very obviously because you're like running with no parkour directly at someone who you weren't facing before. You're obviously going to get into a fist fight. But when you get into a fist fight, the combos between like the button mashing is so kind of ugly to look at. It's like punch, 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 and it's like, dude,
Dodge.
yeah, and it looks really just unfluid and unintuitive. And I definitely, because like there was one point where I was like, all right, I'm going to try to fight these guys, but without parkour. I'm just going to fight them. I'm going to really test the shit out of this combat system. And when I did it, it was kind of shitty. It felt like an amateur's game. It was definitely disappointing in the sense of like just straight combat. When it comes to like, avoid people and just, move past it. It was great. But when you decide that your gameplay style is I'm going to go in and kick these people's ass, because just because a game is known for being one way doesn't mean you shouldn't accommodate for other play styles. So
I'm really appreciative that they added like a parkour kick off of them to keep momentum, because I played pacifist route. Every time I stole a gun in Mirror's Edge when back in the day, I'd always dismantle it, throw it away, whatever, and just keep going.
that's the way a lot of people did it, and that's the way I did it. I like I said, I was a major pacifist player, but I understand that now, especially, I'm not going to say it's a meme now. You can't say it's 2016, guys, because apparently that's a meme now.
Oh, pacifist.
But, it's 2016. And I feel like games should be able to adapt to this kind of stuff. They have to have multiple play styles. We live in a post-Dark Souls world. And
yeah,
I know. And I think that games need to start understanding play style, and diversity of play is really important. And Mirror's Edge definitely does not have that. If you're going pacifist, you are going to be happy. You're going to be like, I don't have to fight so much. I can run in and just beat the shit out of this one guy, but never lose speed. It's perfect. But if you want to go in and you want to fight people, you want to be kind of like the Warriors meets a parkour game, you're not going to get that. You are not going to get any of that combat. It's really kind of flat. And that, I mean, that sucks, but...
I sure hope they fix it, because it looked like it could be enjoyable, but from what I was imagining and what I was seeing, like what I was imagining you needing to press to initiate those combos and stuff, I was like, that doesn't look fun, and it doesn't look like something I'd enjoy. But then you see them like give them like a little slap, like 2 slaps to the face. They turn around and then jump off the wall to do that cool spinning off the wall kick.
Yeah.
And then they're just down. You're like, oh, that's fucking badass. But now, yeah, just toe to toe, it's meh. The dodging's cool.
Yeah, I think the dodging was the right move. I mean, dodging is so fucking fast, and it's really cool.
It looked really fast.
Yeah, it's
like motion blur fast.
It's the same exact button that you use to shift, so it's that kind of sudden movement button.
Okay.
And that's how you shift to the side instead of shifting forward, and you'll run onto the side of them. And it's cool. I mean, what I really like to do is, and they kind of set themselves up for these kinds of situations, or at least they try to, the AI. They try to put 2 people like side to side with each other, two baddies. And you can shift to behind them, and if you hit the heavy kick button, the Y button, and you aim in the direction that the other guy is standing, so like let's say you shift around the guy and there's a guy standing to his left. If you hit the first guy, he like fucking Jenga. He like knocks into the other guy, and the other guy will fall too.
Yeah, there's directional input combat. So left, right, and the YouTuber I watched, he barely at the end of his video, he was like, Can you do a backwards attack? Like, can you pull the guy that's in front of you and throw him behind you so that he'll hit the other guy that's behind you? He was like, I don't know. I should have checked that shit. Jeez. And well, yeah, I mean, the directional combat looks pretty cool. The domino effect, or making somebody fly off of the building, that looked enjoyable.
Like, it was really cool, but the issue...
the AI.
It's the AI, and it's the fact that it takes just the slightest bump from a guy who's been initiated as, like, a push domino AI. If it even so much as taps another person, like, so lightly, they fall too.
He's already he's knocked out.
So it looks so stupid with, like, one of them falls and, like, the tips of their fingers, like, graze against their, like, hip, and then they're just like, ugh, they just hit the floor. It looks really bad, but that happens rarely. The AI is pretty competent at standing side to side, but when it comes to just fighting them, it's just not that fun. I've been kind of dancing around the movement system a little bit. Honestly, it's honed in. It feels like Mirror's Edge 1.
But smoother.
But smoother. The animations are way smoother. Another thing that I really liked is the shift button is kind of integrated into pretty much everything you do. So, like, let's say you're going full running speed, you're bunny hopping, you're 100% momentum, and you hit the slide, you'll start sliding on the ground like you would in Mirror's Edge 1. But if while you're sliding you shift, and I know you probably saw this in the video I uploaded, JJ, as you're sliding, if you hit the shift button, you do a frontwards roll out of the slide, but you stay at full speed.
Yeah, you springboard out of your roll. Right? Yeah.
No. It's what's it called? Basically, like but it's not a roll. It's like when you're like trying to go underneath a low object.
Oh, well, yeah, you springboard out of your slide. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Man, that looks so fucking cool. But when you kept doing it, I was like, well, what is the point of that? And then I noticed that you can springboard off of stuff in Mirror's Edge 1, and I was like, oh, it's just this, except in other situations.
Yeah.
And that just looked it looked weird for Mirror's Edge Catalyst to do it just whenever you wanted if you press the shift button. But, I could see it being useful because you could do it in real life,
Yeah. But it's really fluid because it's not so much a springboard as much as it is just getting back on your feet. When you're exiting the slide, you basically jump right back to your feet. You roll up to your feet, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And
It happens in parkour videos all the time.
yeah. So it's really ninja-like, which is cool. But yeah, the combat feels really solid. The plot itself is kind of eh. The thing that has me a little worried is the open world tropes. There's a lot of those. There's a lot of Ubisoft style stuff where it's like, go get these collectibles and go, go fetch me this thing, and that's like the bulk of what is the game. But at the same time, I would get these core missions, these side missions that were actually really interesting because they would have you go like, hey, I need you to break into this apartment and get this thing that's on the table. And going from, strict, roof to roof to being able to enter a building and go like, holy shit, this is kind of cool, was really awesome. And I really think they could have capitalized on that and made the world more open in the sense of like not just rooftop to rooftop. I even brought that up to one of the developers. I was saying, had they ever considered doing like ground-based stuff, you know what I mean, where you're able to start from the bottom and then work your way up to the top, kind of like Tony Hawk style, where you'd start on the ground and end up like at the top of the Eiffel Tower. And they said that they looked at it, but they said it didn't sound like Mirror's Edge. It didn't feel like Mirror's Edge, so they abandoned the idea pretty quick. But I think, honestly, to get a little bit more of that kind of fleshed out, original idea, I think it would have been really, really important that they get that right. You know what I mean?
So I'm thinking that I'm going to buy the game. I was a huge fan of Mirror's Edge on the 360. Whenever I got it, I was pretty good. I was able to beat most of my friends' times, and I felt competent. And I want that feeling again in this game. Just the parkour, the speed running, and finding new ways to traverse everything. It all looks great, and it's everything that I'm looking for. And the parkour is one of the main reasons I got Titanfall. One of the main reasons. The other reasons being the shooting and the bots. Fuck, actually the bots were the biggest reason, and then the parkour, and then the shooting.
True.
In that order. But yeah, I hope I can buy it. I don't think I will, because I think that I'll get Dark Souls 3 before I get Catalyst, but we'll see.
But you still have a little bit of time. But yeah, if you're definitely hell bent on not spending that much, in a year on new games, yeah, I'm with you. That's one of the reasons why I canceled my pre-order, just because it does a lot of things that I think was important right. The city feels like Mirror's Edge 1, but with a little bit more sci-fi, like kind of like 30-40% more sci-fi than there was originally. In many ways, I kind of prefer the original, mainly because thematically speaking, I think the lighter than air, pure kind of, tone I liked better than the dirtier and the more raw and the more, I guess, sci-fi oriented new one where it's very busy. I kind of prefer the original one because of that, but I'm not going to deny that that Catalyst is beautiful, because Catalyst is really, really beautiful. It just has a lot of technical issues, and I can't really judge the beauty when I'm like literally I'll jump to a rooftop and I'm like, what's with all these blotches of black, like these like shadowing, And then out of nowhere, everything would pop in, like all the geometry that was on the building, the AC unit, the little sunroof, I'm just like, what the fuck?
Damn, that's gross.
Yeah, and I would stand there and I'd just be waiting, and it would take like upwards of 15 seconds. I'll just be standing there for 15 seconds going, where is this? So that wasn't particularly good. But overall, if you haven't played the beta, you haven't played Mirror's Edge 1, you might as well get Mirror's Edge 1 just for now, because it definitely does improve on a lot of systems, but a majority of what they did was maintain what they already had that was good. So you might as well spend the $3, I think it is, to get Mirror's Edge 1. So just...
Yeah, it's about $4.99.
Yeah, just do that at that point.